So we're back and we're talking about our finances today, and we're joined by someone who is very vast in the financial world. Opeyemi Folorunso is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and an accredited small business consultant with 20 years of banking and finance experience. He's the lead consultant of Riverheads Business Solutions Limited, a company offering advisory service in finance and business development. Opeyemi is a conference speaker who leverages his proven research and analytical skills to help his listeners prefer practical solutions to business and financial challenges. Please welcome our guest. It is so good to have you here, Opeyemi.
Thank you for
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so I want you to sort of give us an overview of your thoughts on. We've talked about the CBEX situation in Ibadan. You've heard, I think you watched us a bit while we're talking. What is your overview on this? Yes.
All right. Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme, as some people we call it, it's not something, it will happen over and over again. It's been happening for a very long time and it will continue to happen. And but if you take an analytical view of what is going on, is a lot of people think is a knowledge gap, while some people think is a behavioral defect.
Okay.
But my stand is that it's a combination of the two. You know, some people go into all these things because they don't know.
Right.
You know, and then some go into all these things. They actually know that it's a Ponzi scheme. They actually know the risks. It's like sport betting.
Okay.
People do sport betting. People do lotto. They know they can lose the money, but they still go into it. And while we don't have any problem doing all those stuff, but you need to have a risk management approach to it. And what I mean by risk management approach to it is, and it's a very simple rule. Like I usually tell people, principles are usually simple, rules are simple, but adherence to those rules are the issues.
Right.
If you want to do Ponzi, I'm not saying you shouldn't do Ponzi, although it's a crime now. But I won't say you shouldn't do Ponzi. But when you are doing things like that are high risk investment, or not even Ponzi, maybe any kind of high risk investment, you should do what we call risk management. What that means is that you put into it what you can afford to lose. It's a very simple rule. Even if you are doing it at all, put it to it what you can afford to lose. But you see people selling assets to put into Ponzi. You know, it doesn't really make sense. And of course, when you now look at the classes of people doing all these things, like I said earlier, some do it because they don't have the knowledge. You see all these market women, some of them think this is actually a good investment, but some do know. But you know, the behavioral aspect of these things stem from two types of emotions, which is general, and we all have it. And that is fear and greed. We all have fear, we all have greed. And that fear can be divided into two as well. The fear of losing your money and the fear of missing out.
Okay.
The fear of losing your money is good, and the fear of losing your money is bad. Okay. If the fear of losing your money is too high, you will not do any investment at all.
True.
So if they say come and do something, and everything that you do has an element of risk. So if the fear of losing your money is too high on your home part, you will not even do anything. If I say I want to sell something to you, this is what you can make the following day. The fear of losing your money will make you not do anything at all. But if the second fear is the fear of missing out. The fear of missing out is everybody is getting the money, even if it doesn't make sense. How can I sit down somewhere? Somebody just bought a car. Some people did not join when this thing started. They knew about it last year. They did not participate. But when somebody go to his church to share a testimony, I bought a car. That's the fear of missing out. I will miss out of this opportunity. So people tends to go in for the fear of missing out. And some people, they are just greedy. Anything that comes to them, they jump at it because of greed. And some people, they don't have knowledge. So, and those are the people that I feel for.
Sad.
Those are the people that I can help by sharing knowledge with. But the people that are greedy and the fear of missing and all those, we cannot really help them. Except they visit a psychologist or they change the way they think.
So you reckon that pyramid schemes will continue to thrive in Nigeria?
Another one will come up before the end of the year.
And people will still join?
And people will join.
Okay, so for example, if there's someone who's here who's going to join the next one and the next one, what are the red flags you would say that they can look out for?
For an investment is wrong. It's very easy to know an investment is wrong. Once somebody promises a return on an investment, the first question you should ask that person is, how are you going to get this return that you want to give me? Okay, if somebody tells you, like the CBEX they just finished now, somebody tells me that put $300 in an investment and it will double in 35 days. You should ask that person, what are you going to do with that $300 that will make you give me another $300 in 35 days. Remember, if you are giving me $300 in 35 days, you must have gotten more than I do, because you can't return more than you have given me. So if it is practically impossible for that thing to happen, then why do you go into it?
Right.
Say for instance, if I ask you to give me money that I want to put in an investment that within 1 year I'm going to give you 100% return. That looks like something that can happen.
Yes.
But you should also go further to ask me questions. Sir, what kind of business are you going to do that will give you 100% return? If I tell you that I'm going to invest it in stock and I will give you 100% return, you should know that I'm lying, because it's very unlikely that we get 100% return within a year. Even if I do, it is a game of chance. So you should always ask questions. How are you going? Then when something is too good to be true, you should be careful. Like Warren Buffett will say, be fearful while others are greedy, and be greedy while others are fearful. So when something becomes what every Tom, Dick, and Harry is talking about in time, when a market woman is talking about an investment in time, you should know that it's a problem. If a market woman is talking about a particular stock, you should know that stock is about to crash, because market women don't have such conversation.
Right.
Some years back, when we had issues in the stock market, somebody in the business, a big man in the business, one of the leaders said, the day he knew that the stock would crash was when he got home. This person is a banker, the MD of a particular bank. He said when he got home and his wife came to him to tell him, are you not going to buy stock? He knew that the stock market was going to crash. Because if your wife, you know your wife so much, maybe somebody that's not interested in stock at all, just came to you to tell you that, are you not going to buy stock? You know, when the stock investment became this popular and cheap, that somebody like this is talking about it, then you know that there's a problem. And lo and behold, they started to wind down on their portfolio, and that's how they saved themselves from the major crisis. So we knew this thing will happen. I knew, in fact, I told somebody that very soon. In fact, somebody said it was going to happen before Easter. I predicted end of March. Because when you see people go on radio to talk about one investment, and you listen to them, they don't even know what they're talking about. They cannot even answer basic questions. You know that this thing cannot be true. So it's very easy to do.
Okay, personally, my own experience, when the person explained it to me, like you said, how are you going to double the money? I asked the person, it's like compound interest, geometric arithmetic. And I did it every day. You make 1% or 2%, and I will add it up till the 35 days, and it came up to the 100%. So at that point, I was like convinced that, okay, the profit you are making is not much. It's because they are compounding it for you. That is why you get to 100. So that maybe viewers will learn from it too. What do you have to say about that? Because it looks so...
It looks, yes.
Yeah.
But what can you tell me what kind of investment I gave you like 2%? Because they said they trade in the morning, they trade in the afternoon. 1% in the morning, 1% in, and they call it trading. They said they trade in cryptocurrency.
That AI is doing the trading.
Is doing it. Which AI? They say AI, as if AI came from heaven. AI is like a program designed by somebody based on historical data that can predict into the future. Okay, now you say you are doing crypto. The crypto market is falling. People are losing money. The real traders are losing money. How can you say you have a bot that can trade, that give you constant? It's not even possible. It doesn't exist anywhere in the world. If such bot exists, then Elon Musk should have been much more richer than who he is today. Because you can't say that 1%. Yes, you can say you get 1% today. There are bots that trade. Yes, real trading. But the trade cannot be 2% every day like that, constant for 35. It's not going to happen like that. The bots will trade, make 1% in some trade. In some trade, the bot will also lose. Because if you have a perfect bot that can trade and make money every day, 22% every day, then the world is going to go into chaos.
So going forward, if the profit is regular, that means a red flag. No,
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you need to understand what the asset you are talking about works. Okay, we are talking about crypto now. So for me to say, oh, this is most likely a lie, and that is why I said some people do it because they don't have the right knowledge. So if you say that is 1%, and I asked myself, what they used to deceive people is that it's a bot, that is a robot that is doing it. I said, no, the robot cannot make money consistently like that. If it is possible for a robot to make consistently like that, 1%, 2% every day like that, the person that designed the bot would have become a billionaire overnight. The person will not even sell the bot to you in the first place.
Exactly.
You know, so that's how it works.
And then the way the trading platforms
Then the way
work,
is always
those
like
graphs
this.
are up and down. So if it is permanently up,
If it's
it
like
cannot be regular.
if a straight line, it's never a
even
straight line upward.
It goes up, comes down,
It goes
up,
up, comes down. Every financial system, even stock, even currencies, in
Forex.
trading is usually zigzag. It
Right.
goes up, it goes up, it goes up. Maybe over time you could establish a trend.
Yes.
But as you are trending, it's always up and down. And that is why it's very difficult to predict. In fact, the best of bots cannot give you guarantee that you are going to make money 2% every day. It's not possible.
Okay. All right. So I guess take risks, but take
Calculated risk.
yes, calculated risk. So now we're talking not just as women, but how would you advise that people want to? Because just like you said, some of these people just want more. So how would you advise that people? Because this is the season of side hustles. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about how we used to look at our European counterparts. They have 2-3 jobs. It's just a guy. You used to be able to survive on one job, but now they tell you that one income is not enough. So what are the ways that, for example, you tell women or even men, anyone out there, to sort of increase their income safely? Well, take the right kind of risk, but safely. What kind of things did you say?
Okay, what I tell people is this: you need to understand that get rich quick doesn't exist anywhere. You can make the jackpot once, even when you do sport betting. You can say Real Madrid wants to play one low, no, not even Arsenal. Let's say a very lowly team on the table.
Yes.
You can say based on your calculation, Real Madrid is going to flog them silly, and you put money there, and that day they're going to play draw. So anything can happen. It's a game of chance. So what we must first of all understand is the protection of your capital is important. I would rather stay where I am than go out there and never come back. So and that's why I tell people the return of your capital is more important to you than the return on the capital.
Okay.
So anything that you want to do, yes, you know that you don't have enough.
Yes.
And I keep asking question. 1.3 trillion naira. 1.3 trillion naira. That is the federal allocation that all the 36 states in Nigeria shared in the month of December. I think last month they shared about 1.6 trillion. So which means all the federal allocation of all the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT, just went down the drain within a short period of time. So where is this money coming from? We have a budget of 54.9 trillion in Nigeria, and that budget is going to have a deficit of 13.6 trillion. 30.6 trillion.
Yes.
So what we just lost is like 10% of the deficit. This money should have gone into government bond, gone back to the government coffers and use it to develop.
Yes.
This money could have been lent out to conglomerates, corporate entities. Then you now ask yourself a question: where we said we are poor in this country, where is this money coming from? So another big question that you should also ask yourself is that the people that participated in this conversation, a lot of them came from diaspora. A lot of funds came from diaspora. In fact, I got to know about P6, the second stage.
Yes.
Now there is a school of thought that they are just the same guys. P6 came from a lot of guys abroad in the US, in the UK. Our guys who did this investment. Then you left Nigeria, you jacked out of this country because you felt Nigeria was, there's a problem in Nigeria. Now you are doing 3 jobs. At the end of the day, you still got there to go and do Ponzi. So you cannot, then it's very difficult to now trace it to economic issue.
Right.
There is something wrong with the mind.
What about breach of trust contract between the government and the people? If the government agency say, market women, come and put your money into treasury bill, the people might not believe the government person.
Why won't they believe the government?
Because they've been lying to the people.
When you do an investment with government, they call it risk-free investment. If you do treasury bill, government cannot fail. And the reason why government cannot fail, government cannot relent. That's why they say this is backed by the full faith of the government. The worst that can happen to any government who wants to fail is they go and print money and cause a problem in the economy, but they will not renege on their obligation. So when you invest in bond, when you invest in treasury bill, you must get your money back with return.
Okay, like for example, Savannah Bank, then people that kept their money there, that money just went.
That is the
like
bank.
that.
That is the deposit in the bank. That is not an investment.
No, so people don't have that trust.
Okay.
In the government, so there must be reorientation, and maybe the government should do a lot more better to change the psyche of the people.
I agree with you absolutely that the government should do better to change the psyche of the people, but we also need to change our thinking about government. Okay, I'll give you an example. because we have government bond.
Right.
Before now, I think about before now, if you want to buy government bond,
Yes.
you must be banks, you must be large corporate and all the rest. And they designed a product, they call it savings bond. I think they started doing this thing about 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Right.
They do it almost every month. Last month, the month of March, governments, they sold savings bond at the rate of 16, 18% per annum return. All that was subscribed was about, I think about 4 point something billion. I think about 4 point something billion that they raised from government bond. Wow. The savings accounts, the savings deposit in all the banks in Nigeria as of 2023, I don't have the data for 2024, was about 34 trillion.
Wow.
All the savings account in all banks. Now this guy, within short, they cut away our almost 10% of that within the short period. So there's a problem with the way we think.
Right.
And if those issues are not addressed, and we will continue to have this kind of problem.
Absolutely.
So now to go to the real investment. The real investment I was saying is that number one thing you think about when you're going to an investment is not the return. It's the protection of your capital.
So you don't lose all
so
the
that
money
you don't
that you put
lose.
in
You know
there.
that if I go out, if I go to swim, if I go out to the market in the morning and I come back, if I don't lose anything, and I'm coming back home and say, thank you, Jesus, let me go another day.
Right.
So when your capital is threatened, don't go at all. Number one. Then number two, it is then you can then say you want to look at the return and say, is the return, the return match the risk? And there's something they call risk and return trade-off in finance. So the risk must match the return.
Right.
When the return is not in tandem with the risk, then you shouldn't go as well. Or when the return, because the higher the return, the higher the risk. And that is what happened in CBS. You know, when the return is so high, then you know that the risk must also be very, very high. If somebody that is doing a legitimate business will not promise you 100% return within 35 days, it's not possible.
Like the National Orientation Agency, they were not doing anything about it. If they had sensitized the people,
You know, when we say sensitize the people, the truth of the matter is we all went to school. We all have the responsibility to teach. I taught people that are close to me. As soon as I said the people that fell into this thing because of information is not much.
Absolutely. I want to take this to the ladies now because I'm just gulping all day. I'm learning. I love when I listen to Mr. Opeyemi because he says a lot, you know, that I learn from. But let's talk about how, because a lot of us are parents, we're raising children. How many of us were taught financial literacy when we're much younger? And have you ever fallen for, do you feel like, well, when you're young enough, you knew about money, how to make money the right way?
I wasn't ever taught about money. As a matter of fact, the first time I came in contact with any type of financial literacy training was about 2014, 2015, when I started holding trainings. And I found out that we have this money, we don't know what to do with it. And I'd been working and earning money for some tidy 10 years by that time. And so, you know, it became a passion for me. I started having trainings to teach people how to manage money when I realized that I had a knowledge gap. However, I fixed it.
Wow.
My children know about money. They read all the books. They played the cash flow game, you know, because we can't afford to continue like that. I wasted technically 10 years of earning money and then not doing the right things with it. So it's our responsibility, like he said, to train the people in our lives and ensure they have the right kind of knowledge.
Absolutely, because that's my experience as well. I mean, I don't even think I thought about money in my 20s like that. You know, I didn't even think about making it. I didn't even know anything about investing money. You know, so that's why we're saying, yes, a lot of people may have gone to school, but did school teach us much about financial literacy? Did school teach us some of these things that we're not learning? And a lot of people have learned the hard way. Now, you told you, for example, at what time, what age did you get conscious about making money?
I don't think there's any time. I even started learning from my children because one time a large amount of money was given to them as gifts. So you know mothers now, you're like, that your money, bring it, let me use it. Say, mommy, my money is in piggy vest. I say, go and take the money out. So, mommy, I have given it a particular time. I'm like, this girl, see this discipline. You know, you can put money in savings and I need money, I'll just bring it out. I started like thinking, but the issue of the orientation agency, for example, issue of polio, until the government kept talking and talking and talking, that was when the Northerners now agreed that okay, they want to start giving their children vaccination. So I think the National Orientation Agency have a part to play, because just like you say, a chunk of our money that would have gone into the government coffers has gone with the wind, and the people, they walk free. I am very sure nothing will happen to them.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Akwe, when did you start learning or being conscious about money to the point where you are now such a financial?
Yeah, well, as a kid, the truth of the matter is we cannot. Our educational system has a lot of issues.
Right.
The truth of the matter, they all taught us about money. There is nobody here that didn't learn simple interest in primary school. But we
didn't realize it.
We didn't realize it. Compound interest, simple interest,
Yeah.
compound interest. They taught us all those things.
Yes.
But the way we were taught, it was the calculation that we were just looking at. So they didn't put the importance
realistic.
there. So before I started reading early, maybe that's from undergraduate days. So I started picking up books. I started doing stuff. Try to learn.
Right.
But before I became so conscious about learning about finance and everything, it was until I became a graduate. So, but it shouldn't be so. At a tender age, as early as when they are in primary school, they should start learning about money. That compound interest that we are talking about is still the same compound interest that we are doing till today.
And that was what I used to calculate.
And that is what you used to calculate the CBES.
CBES. I'm like, okay, so it's small and it's true. That means it's not a lie. I was like,
looks like that's how it is. I agree with you when you said National Orientation Commission agencies should do more. Yes, we should do more.
People are more gullible than we give them credit for.
Then you'll be surprised that it's not a national orientation issue. How do you explain somebody that is like to the level of a senior manager in a bank? How do you explain virtually like 90%, 70% of a branch of a bank takes CBES?
Wow.
How do you explain a bank?
Is the greed aspect, and
that is exactly what I'm saying. So it is the problem is the knowledge aspect of it is like 10-20%, and it only affects the market women. So we can help those ones, with orientation.
When we do it in indigenous languages every day, every now and then.
But the issue, even if they understand the greed and fear of missing out aspect, we still override the knowledge. So until when we now learn or develop so much that we can then tame our greed and tame those fear with knowledge. Even when we are doing financial trading, the legitimate financial trading in a big organization, investments, bankers and all of them, they must teach them how to manage their greed and fear of missing out.
But how do you tame your greed in the space of where there's hunger?
You have to develop yourself. Because the reason why I'm saying this is it's not about the hunger in the land. I know that is a factor. It's beyond that. How do you explain somebody that's a jackpot?
They are still sending
money from
the person over there is like a third-class citizen. He's not happy. He's thinking, let me come and plant a mansion in my village so that they will know that I've arrived.
Now you know that it's not because of the economic situation. It's the mind.
He wants to come back as a big man.
That's what I'm saying.
And because he's suffering there, doing all kinds of menial jobs.
But he has money to put into it, right?
Okay, let this thing double up. Because over there, you cannot even flex with the money you are earning. It's when you come to Nigeria that the money makes sense.
It's still the same grade.
It's still greed.
Unfortunately, I believe also that it's still greed at the end of the day. I know that there are different factors and these things wear in different faces. There's a lot that government can do because a lot of people are feeling despondent. So any little money I have, how can I make it more? But then there's still also the place of greed. There's still also the place of lack of information.
This is the person in US that you called. That there is an opportunity for the person to do that. You are doing a business in Nigeria, and the person tells you that I don't trust Nigerians. This is the person that you called and you said there is a land somewhere around our house that they want to sell for 10 million naira. And the person tells you that I don't want to do. This is the person that you call that you should start building in Nigeria and said I don't want to send him money, and you have saved $5,000 and put it in CBES.
What
There's something wrong with you.
That land, or Monile comes and take over
is that riskier than CBES?
No.
What you just explained. Is it riskier than CBES?
No, because people have had different experiences. I
agree with you. That is a big risk. But look at the two investments. These are the two scenarios. Which one is riskier?
Yes, and not very many people have that.
Is it your Monile or the CBES? Do you know how bad this situation is? These guys are not known. Even if you look at the website, according to what they said now, the website was, even before it crashed, when you look at the website was badly put together. The interface, everything was badly put together, and some people. That is why the ISA Act 2024 has to be triggered.
It has been amended.
Yes, amended 2025. Sorry, 2025. It was 2007. It was 2025. What section 195 of that act has to be triggered. That if you are the promoter or you are the object of the you should. It's 10 years imprisonment or a fine of 5 million. So those people that carry their shoulder and open Twitter handle, open Facebook and go to promote something that they do not know, they should be arrested and brought to book.
Okay.
Perhaps those guys that put the money in so they have walked away, that $825 million is not likely to be recovered again. It is very good. It's a crippled thing. It's very that, and that's the problem with cryptocurrency. If it was fiat currency now, we could trace it to a particular bank.
Wow.
But that is what is annoying me about this whole thing. It's annoying me because the money is no longer in Nigeria. The money is no longer in any economy. It's in crypto space.